All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all you tiny dicked individuals in between. Welcome to the New Type Podcast. I'm your boy. It's your boy, Young Kaiser or Kaiser Shun, whoever you prefer. I don't give a shit. Join my host today, Lone Crit and Code Based Fate.
Code-based fate indeed.
Hey, speaking of based, have any of y'all been watching Dynazenon lately?
I've been watching Dynazenon.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of the funniest thing. It seems that me and Lone Crit kind of just fucking watched the recent episode of the show at the same time, around the same time. I finished it first because I always win.
That's not something to be proud of, buddy.
You're that guy who just goes on YouTube comments and types first.
Hey,
And everybody else thinks they're an asshole. That seems very appropriate.
Not everyone. Like, there's a lot.
Everyone. No, only that one guy doesn't think he's the asshole. Everybody doesn't think they know.
Am I the asshole?
Oh my god.
Everyone. Yes!
Are we the baddies?
Okay, you know what, you filthy fucking Merca-bot? You are not British. Only I get to reference David Mitchell and Mitchell and Hobbs, okay? Okay?
I mean, that's a real delayed reaction there, so I guess that's appropriate for the British. Anyways, though, Dynazenon, right? Dynazenon.
Yes, thighs. I mean,
this
Dynazenon.
recent episode is really, yes. This episode was pretty funny. This is probably my second favorite of the four so far.
Which one is your favorite, then?
Oh, the first episode, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. The first is... oh.
The first was interesting in that it set up a lot of stuff, but I thought it was going to make me ultimately very cautious like I was with the majority of Gridman. But
yeah,
then
see, I saw you
onwards,
I saw you sitting over there like, well, actually... I saw you prepping.
Yeah. But then the rest came in and they just assuaged my fears entirely. I am fully confident in the direction the show is going in, mainly because I actually really like the characters this time, as opposed to Gridman, where the only interesting one was Akane.
Yeah, the only one I didn't like was, like, Redhead Girl, but no, this episode made me like her, like the whole thing with, oh my god, thank you, senpai, oh my god, I'll try to be so much better next time. That whole thing, all of her shenaniganery, that was lovely, that was hilarious, and the way the cast play off each other is also really good. I think
the jokes are top-notch. I
think one interesting thing with Dynazenon that it has that I don't remember Gridman having is details. As you know, as they say, the devil's in the detail. And here, I really feel that with the characters. I don't mean like big things, I just mean like when Yomogi and Yume was talking in the last episode, and as she was talking, she was just kind of fumbling with her fingers, or the way that she left his room, and then comes back. You hear the pata 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 from her running, and it's like, by the way, you can eat that. That was hilarious. That adds a lot of character. Or even just Yume hanging out with her friend. We don't need that for the story, but...
And she's just slumped. It's an endearing scene, though, and I really like the attention to, like, body language that this show has. It really, like... It's sort of like that, what I'd like to call the Miyazaki effect, where, like, hey, small details like that allows us to get into, like, the... what is it? Not suburban, but, you know, the typical life of the characters, which, like the freaking main villains of the show, the kaiju eugenicists dicking around, basically in malls and
great.
shit.
One bit I really loved in this last episode was just that one scene where, after the kaiju gets defeated, like, three of them are like, well, peace, see you guys later, well, I'm off. But then that one guy's like, is just sitting there, like, cross-armed, like, and it's like, where the fuck are you guys going?
Yeah, like, Mujina, after her kaiju was defeated, she's like, alright, good work, team, let's go. Everyone's like, and he's just like, wait, where are you guys going? It's just like they finished the game.
And then he got smacked in the, and then he almost got smacked in the dick with a giant Freudian metaphor.
Truly the worst ways to die.
It's fine though, we all know it's not gay if the tips don't touch.
Exactly, and they didn't this episode. So I think we're in the clear here. But who knows? Maybe his character development, it will be him coming out. Something like that.
I also really love how physical Yume is with her best friend. It really makes me feel how friendly and close they are, because that reminds me a lot of girls I used to go to high school with, and I really see shit like that in anime, at least from what I can remember, that casual kind of affection and physicality, but in not necessarily like a super intimate or high in insight into the other person way.
Sure.
Just like the fact that they're able to like piggyback on each other and just like lay down right next to each other while watching Inferno Cop.
Yeah, see, like that. When I was in high school and junior high school, I didn't see girls do exactly that, but I saw a lot of similar things.
Same here.
The show has a very almost like mumblecore-ish feel, and with just like the fact that characters are allowed to just dick around all the time or even talk over each other, sometimes have like concurrent conversations going on in the exact same scene.
Oh yeah, a lot of the dialogue feels very natural, and it's because of little shit like this that's the reason why.
It genuinely kind of feels like the director Akira Amamiya was just like, how about I just take like the kind of normal experiences like we have and just have so like normal ass people are in an anime setting with like this one big ass anime character doing weird things. It doesn't feel like everyone's just like this super stylized or anime-y type character, if you get my drift.
They are stylish, but in just a very normal way. I think one of the things that stands out the most to me, too, detail-wise, is the clothes. Like, look at Yomogi, right? He wears, like, shorts or jeans or whatever, and a t-shirt. His hair's always kind of whatever. Sometimes he has the glasses, sometimes not. But then you look at Yume, and you may say, well, that's just high school girl uniform. To which I'd agree, but then I also disagree. It's not just... it is just high school girl uniform, but it's not in the anime way, but rather in the realistic way. Like, I love how much detail the show puts when you see stuff like the ruffles in her clothes, or one thing that I can't stop noticing is the bottoms of her stockings and shoes. Those shoes, the leather shoes with like the straps and shit, they have a lot of detail and texture. And the like texture on the... and the texture of the color of the stockings and shit and the way they kind of go into the shoes, it feels very real and material.
I swear Alone has like this knack for appreciating character design that most anime fans don't.
Yeah, because freaking you have to have a very high IQ to understand schoolgirl outfits in anime. But yeah, I totally agree.
Think of
with
like
that.
the way her clothes lay as well, though.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I can't stop admiring the shoes. They look... I never thought I'd say this, but they look real. All of this looks real.
It's like real life.
Yeah, it looks like... It looks real, like real clothes, real material, not just anime simplification.
And the characters, again, they act so like naturalistic and frank with one another, and the direction often just like really complements that. How characters can sometimes just be so like direct and stiff in a conversation. It's like, hey, you doing this? It's like, yeah, that whole thing with that girl yesterday. How did that go? I don't know. Was it intimate? Intimate? Sexually? No.
Oh yeah, I really liked how Yomogi's manager kept piling the boxes on him until he confessed. What an excellent type of workplace harassment. I love that.
You heard here, folks. The Newtypes hereby approves workplace harassment only when it happens to men.
It's okay if it happens in anime.
And to
men. By cute manager girls.
Yeah, well, she's also really charming. Generally speaking, I'm really liking the whole cast. It's amazing, because in Gridman you had, like, really 2 or 3 characters, if not less, that carried the show. For a lot of people, it was Rika and Akane. For me, it was just, like, Akane and Auntie. And Caliber.
And Caliber.
Caliber, definitely Caliber. Caliber was great.
Caliber, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the insane thing. The burgeoning sort of crush that Yomogi has on Yume doesn't make me want to disembowel myself.
Yeah.
Because, like, it happens in
Oh,
Gridman, I'm like, get this shit out of here. And here I like it. It's cute.
It's because the characters actually have fun dynamics that get explored all the time. So it actually genuinely kind of... It's hard not to care on some level, or at the very least have fun with them and their just, like, antics.
Absolutely, Yume and Yomogi are a lot of fun. Really, everybody with everybody's a lot of fun. Especially some of the sideline characters, like the cousin duo, and the way they just yell things at everybody else.
Yes. Like, here's another thing about the relationship, though, is that, especially, like, the attention that, like, the show gives to small details, like, bits of dialogues where, like, character have, like, oh, you know, say something under your breath with this stream of consciousness without paying super attention to it, at least not overstate it. Like with the last episode at the end where Yume was thinking about, oh, Kaiji-Q can do anything, right? Maybe they can bring somebody back to life. Like, the show actually lets you know that you fucking get it without giving it too much fanfare. And that's good.
I mean, come on, dude, that was pretty blunt, though. I mean, they mention her sister, like, once per episode. What,
I mean,
like,
it's not, like, overplayed, I guess.
It's not overplayed, I'm just saying, though, it's not like we're being misdirected here into believing she wants to bring her dead dog back to life. All I'm saying.
I mean, no, I'm not saying like it's so in the sense that it misdirects us or it makes it super surprising. I'm just saying the presentation, while blunt, is still very much in the sort of, not lackadaisical, but somewhat semi-casual way that the rest of the show portrays itself, and I appreciate that.
It feels quiet, but not like despondent, detached, Ava and Gridman type quiet.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
amazing the fact that we need to follow the toku format of having one fight per week, and we do that, and the fights are always cool, and yet we still manage to make, like, the rest of shit both cohesive and not feel rushed, where it's like bang, 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 bang. Cause, Kaiser, you and I have watched some toku together. I'm sure especially in Kamen Rider Ryuki we felt how, yeah, we need to have a fight this episode, and it just comes out of completely nowhere.
Yeah, I kind of feel that sometimes. But, like, speaking of the fights this episode, however, like, I love how just my favorite part of the entire fight that isn't comedically charged is just the part where freaking Dynazenon just fucking parkours over a building, is about to make a fucking roundhouse kick to the monster and shoots missiles out of its fucking knees while he's doing it. That is some raw shit right there.
Yeah, I just fucking adore it when Yomogi and Yume combine their things to make a Dyna Soldier, or whatever it's called.
Dyna Wing Soldier.
Dyna
Yes.
Wing Soldier. Thank you, Mactond.
You're welcome, you fucking degenerate. And speaking of mechs, did you finish Gundam yet?
Robocyst.
No, actually, I didn't.
Oh. That makes this Hado very sad.
But what I did finish is... how should I say this? Grandma once said, "Walking the path of heaven, the man who shall rule over everything." Henshin! I finished Kamen Rider Kabuto.
Hey, that's not an anime, you fucking asshole.
Well, it's kind of like anime in a very vague way. Also, okay, way to go, Detail Nazi, podcast over. But no, really. So I don't completely eat up this whole bit. What do you guys know about Kamen Rider Kabuto?
That it has the best
Well,
OP.
That the fact that you basically suck that phrase's dick all the fucking time whenever you mention it.
Grandma once said this. Shut up.
Your grandmother, is so fat that her belly button enters the room before she does.
Okay, but what do you guys actually know about Kamen Rider Kabuto, besides the fact that Tendo Soji has the biggest rider penis?
Zect.
Not much else. Not much else aside from that. Because
And then apparently
dick
it gets
sizes-
fucking weird.
Because dick sizes is clearly the most important thing that to us here in the Newtype podcast.
Well, just saying, have you seen the symbolism when he henshins and that, like, Kabuto horn on top of his helmet rises? It's not a coincidence that it does... It's not a coincidence, by the way, that it happens so slowly. In the words of one great Rick Sanchez, whoa, 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 let it go slowly, it gets the little dicks hard. Or whatever he said in that one episode in Season 1. Regardless. So I started Kamen Rider Kabuto.
Jokes in this podcast?
I'll make whatever the fuck jokes I want, CB retard.
Lord, I'm autistic, not retarded. This is wrong. This is bad. You gotta get canceled for this.
Yeah, wait, why is he doing the Mori voice? I'm the only one making the Mori voice. That's my job, okay? Like, this is my safe space.
It's just like that Pringles commercial.
The fuck's the difference, Robo douchebags?
Okay, that's racist against robots, Ricky. Yeah, I get canceled. I'm sorry.
Well, if I'm getting cancelled, we're all getting cancelled.
No.
Canceled. But, like, okay, for real. I started the Kamen Rider Kabuto around a year ago. I got, like, 41 episodes in, or 42, and I kind of fell off it, partially because of the comedy and some decisions with characters in the latter half. But I eventually got back on board with it very recently, and some of the comedy is just as bad as I remember.
Wow.
But Tendo Soji, Kamen Rider Kabuto, the man who walks the path of heaven and shall rule over everything, is one of the greatest riders ever.
You know, that phrase gets less impressive the more you say it.
Well, let me explain. In the last episode, after everybody thinks he's dead, he breaks into the scene of the final battle by jumping without armor off the top of a giant radio tower, breaking into the lead villain's hideout, and then giving just like a massive speech starting with the words "Grandma once said this," and just embellishing a phrase he used earlier in the show, and the big dick energy was real. Oh, and here's something that you're gonna like. Kaiser. One of the final villains is actually played by the actor who played, Kamen Rider Zolda's assistant in Kamen Rider Ryuki. Kitoka. Kitoka's assistant.
Goro then. Okay.
Yeah, Goro, and it's weird, I completely didn't recognize him until I went onto the Rider Wiki and was like, shit, because, like, he has glasses, he oftentimes has a hat and a suit, and he doesn't have a beard.
Yeah, it's kind of like that chick in the other chick in the Ryuki who's in, like, the freaking, the same reporter company shit that, like, Shinji is in. Like, you cannot tell just from looking at her that she's the same, like, girl from Fies.
Well, to be fair, I mean, one of them's annoying as shit and the other one's actually kind of likable. So, like, I'm not saying all Asians look the same. What I am saying is that a change of outfit and hairstyle and hair, and especially demeanor, can do wonders.
I thought we were gonna go in a Clark Kent situation.
So what you're saying is that you're a racist. Congratulations.
We all know he was a racist against robots, at least.
Exactly, that's exactly what I am. But yeah, the ending of Kamen Rider Kabuto, without spoiling too much, it really goes places. It does something interesting, where in the first half of the show, Kamen Rider Kabuto is just this perfect character. He is completely impenetrable and perfect at everything, to the point where everybody else is forced to grow around him, because they can't make him budge in any respect. Kaiser, think of Kamen Teacher with the students and the lead in that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that way you get
so he's a paragon
drama.
Character.
Kinda, yeah. He's not exactly a paragon of moral virtue. He's just kind of invincible, insurpassable, untouchable, unaffectable.
Yeah, he's just a general paragon rather than like a moral one.
But Lunkrit, what makes him better than your average Mary Sue like Godsuya?
Or Kira Yamato.
Well, for starters, he's ungodly charismatic. Also, there was one time when he had a contest with another rider called Drake to see who can pick up the most girls by the end of the day, and when Drake shows up on a hill with a horde of girls behind him, and Tendo doesn't show up with anybody, the girls, the second they see him, go, "Ah, it's Tendo Soji!" and all rush to his side, and then when Drake is like, "Wait, what the fuck, you know all of them?" He's like, a foolish thing to say. There is not a single human being on this earth that does not know the radiance of the sun. And all of the girls just do Tendo's sign and go, "Walking the path of heaven, the man who shall rule over everything, Tendo Soji." And Tendo wins, because fuck you, he's Tendo.
So it is self-parody this time instead of bordering on it.
Yeah, I'm just imagining, like, this whole scenario, but with the freaking rapper Drake. Oh my god, Drake's a
So this is God's plan.
The show really winks at you too. There's one episode where he becomes the leader of an elite unit of like monster killers called the Black Ops group of the Zect organization, and then he gets this position without even revealing that he's a Kamen Rider, and then one Kamen Rider who's in the squad, called Kageyama, otherwise known as Kamen Rider the Bee, goes to one of his superiors and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck? Why is this guy suddenly the leader of the group?" The guy straight up says, as if telling the audience, he literally says he is a grade A human being. That is all you need to know. Do not question it. And we never see how he got the position. He literally just got it in the span of half an episode. He just showed up, next scene, "Okay, I'm captain now." And the show never explains.
"I'm your captain, man, now," and he just fucking dabs.
Tendo Soji does everything except a T-pose, okay?
Pretty much.
But yeah, like, the monsters aren't even real threats. The riders can easily dispatch them. The entire first half is pretty much interhuman and rider-on-rider drama, and just like building shit with the characters and giving them arcs, and then the second half is where the monsters actually become a threat, and they do a lot more dramatic shit with like the origins of the monsters and the rider system, and why the factions are the way they are and shit, such as having two groups of monsters, one from the Earth called the Native, and then another invading species, and doing plot twists with them and shit, and that's when they start become challenging, and that's when like Tendo struggles for the first time, but then he's brought back to god tier status at the end of the show in the very last episode, and the last thing we see, I'm just gonna spoil you guys a bit, the last thing we see is him in France, some random French guy being like, "Wait a sec, you're..." And he just says something in perfect French, and then says his catchphrase and his name, and points at the sun, just like he did in episode 1.
Even the French know the radiance of the sun.
There is not a single human being that does not know the radiance of the sun. Now, as a half-British person, I'm contractually obligated to imply that the French aren't people, so they may be an exception, but nevertheless.
Not anymore, they're not an exception. Even they know now.
No, wait. No, here's the thing, okay? Tendo Soji is such a fucking Chad that he is basically given... that his very presence, his very big dick conqueror's hockey energy, just fucking gives the French back their humanity. They give them human rights.
I will say that the last half does a lot of just Masahiro Inoue's isms, like in Fies, regarding the romance sometimes, but mainly the drama, even though he didn't write those bits, but it feels like he's just kind of there in spirit, because you get a lot of drama moments that make no sense, like a character being rider kicked, but then getting to go all the way to their home, go to their seat, have a chat with their adopted parent, and then die. Or a character gets turned into a monster, and that means that he has to be killed for some reason, even though he can still control himself, even though, like, the show's already made peace with keeping 2 or 3 of the monsters alive. So it's like, yeah, they cool, but we gotta kill this guy. And that's not even getting into Dark Kabuto.
Because of course there has to be a dark version.
So there's Dark Kabuto, who's from the future, except he's apparently not from the future. He's not even really Tendo Soji. He's actually a guy who was turned into a monster who was made to think he was Tendo, but turns out he wasn't Tendo, and only got back his sense of personhood in the last episode when the villain of the show plot revealed that he was actually used as the prototype to turn humans into monsters. Got that? Good.
Okay, I have several questions.
Well, save them. Point is, you should watch Kamen Rider Kabuto because Tendo Soji is one of the coolest riders ever. The first half is some of the best the Kamen Rider franchise has ever put out, and even the second half, when it's not being annoying, dumb,
autistic,
is at least, yes, exactly, is at least being like cool, fun, dumb, with Tendo being awesome. Plus, it gives the secondary rider a really cool arc, making him arguably one of the best secondary riders in the entire show. Arata Kagami, otherwise known as Kamen Rider Gattack.
By the way, just a reminder, we are all autistic, so it isn't offensive, it's self-deprecating humor.
Because that's the way that works.
That's our force field, guys. That's our failsafe.
Checkmate, atheists!
Oh, also, there's one character in the show, one enemy, that has the ability to freeze time, but then after a certain point in the show, not only can he clone himself, for some reason, but he also doesn't use that power that negates everybody else's clock-up power and hyper-clock-up power for some reason.
For some reason.
Okay.
By the way, about the autistic thing, I just want to see somebody who, like, sees this episode on Twitter and checks us out, that, like, oh, like, they're probably saying, oh, they're not really autistic. Where are their freaking medical papers or some shit? I wish they would say something like that.
Oh, man.
I wish somebody had the balls to say that just because we're autistic doesn't mean we get to make whatever jokes we like about the subject, but I don't think anybody actually has the moral fiber to say that. Even though I personally believe it to be the case.
I've only seen one person have the moral fiber to do that, and she's another autistic person.
Ah, okay.
Props
anyway,
to
you
that.
guys been watching anything else?
Yes, actually, right before that, there's one thing I want to mention from Dynazenon is that one of the funniest jokes is about how friggin' Gauma just has like a part-time job to feed himself, and he just has a whole bunch of crabs and shit while being in a tent. And then once he tries to trespass on Yomugi's school because there's a kaiju eugenicist there, he just tries to beat the shit out of them. He just gets escorted out by his staff security and gets fired from his job.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What I liked is the bit where he was at Yomugi's place, and he's like, oh yeah, I have to do these 2 shifts, and he's like, that's tough, and he's like, yeah, but it's nothing, it's way easier than 5,000 years ago, and just Yomugi's mom is like, I'll bet.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we gotta go training to fight this kaiju stuff. Like, yeah, sure. She's not even paying attention.
Yeah, like, Gauma literally says as Yomugi leaves for school and say, hey, we got training later today, and his mom just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, the humor in this show is honestly peak.
Right, so... Speaking of mecha, let's talk about RahXephon.
Yeah,
RahXephon?
Yes, RahXephon. I believe, yeah, because, like, okay, so here's the thing.
You mean the Ava ripoff?
Yeah, basically the quintessential, like, post-Ava clone.
The Argento Soma ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this was made before Argento Soma, wasn't it?
I thought Argento Soma was like 2000. I know this is 2002.
Oh.
Well, guess what? I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Okay, Kirito.
Sure.
Hey, that makes me a black swordsman. Neat.
No, it makes you a
The rip-off Black Swordsman.
Yeah, the fake black sword.
Speaking of rip-offs, though, back to RahXephon.
Right, so...
But hey, I have the only sword that matters in real life.
Allegedly. So CBF, well, granted, me and CBF are, like, actually, watching the show. Me rewatching it. I'm at episode 12, and CBF, you're at, like, episode 3 or something?
Joke's on you, douchebag, I started watching it like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
So, what you're saying is that you're late! God damn it.
Bitch!
I prefer to refer to myself as fashionably late.
You're not even in fashion.
While you dick riders were bandwagoning that shit with your friends, I was chilling, watching Kabuto. Time well spent.
I wasn't even that into Ra, honestly. It's interesting, but I'm not exactly confident in the direction it's heading towards. It's kind of like when I was watching Gridman. It's just like, oh, there's some like interesting stuff going around. There's some striking direction with like a cool director going around, but how much of this is actually going to work? Will this crash and burn? And while with Gridman, we managed to get to a case where that wasn't actually the case, I don't know if that will apply here, because that is very rare for a show to keep me on edge on just the direction it's going to go, being like, this is going to be stupid, isn't it? Only for it to not turn out to be an absolute dumpster fire.
Unlike Darling and Franks.
I'm just putting it out there. Since you mentioned Dynazenon, I forgot to mention before, I am developing a love for how much the buildings in Dynazenon look like Legos when they're knocked over.
Yeah, they tend to pretty much act like that.
Legos fall apart, these don't.
Yeah.
I only noticed in episode 4, but it's like, they feel so weightless, they're like Legos, and I'm kinda loving it. It makes it feel like you're just, like you're a kid with your big-ass toys, just smashing your Lego buildings, it's great.
Yeah, we could talk about that and just like how Mugen is super detached and shit. But back to Ra. But yeah, like there's some cool stuff, like the first episode, how most of it, you're just kind of thrown into Ayato's perspective, in which just everything is just going awry and apocalyptic. You don't know what's going on. Suddenly all these different factions are attacking each other and dying all around him. And then suddenly he's being caught up in this conspiracy and just thrown into this mech. I do think like the Ra activation stuff and some of its powers are stupid, but the fact that it just throws you in his perspective with stuff like that, and how it's kind of outrageous how he gets treated too. It's just like, you would be in his shoes. You would most likely be like, bitch, you're trying to take the mech away after I've been piloting in it for a while and trying to claim ownership of it? I saved this thing because of y'all guys, and y'all just gonna lock me up? Bruh, really? And not even tell me what's going on?
This episode vaguely reminds me of Lion Barrels of Iron, but I can't make a discussion out of that because that anime is so forgettable. I've forgotten almost all of it, past the first couple of episodes when the main character took the power and used it to be an absolute ass.
Yeah, same here. Like, the first half of that show was more memorable, but that aside, I kind of have similar feelings towards Ross.
It also has one of the most forgettable Alley Project openings.
I don't know, I like it. But, like, where I'm at with RahXephon right now, I think I have a bit more faith in its direction, with where it's going. It's a bit on the, like, in terms of plot, it is, in the beginning anyways, it's a bit on the meandering side, but I think it makes up for it with some of the interactions between characters and just kind of getting used to the space in Terra, which is the good guy, which is the not Nerve organization that is, like, fighting against the Mu, which are, or like Mulians, I guess, who like, hey, who basically have no, not Japan, but Tokyo, and I guess their extent of a fucking, I guess, a hostage situation. Like, it's a hotbed of those motherfuckers. They got blue blood for whatever reason, and like time dilates there like quite a bit. Which kind of feeds into a lot of different things later on from where CBF is at right now.
And also historical revisionism.
That's a very interesting idea. Yeah, that's an interesting not morgue. Hey CBF, I am curious about something though. I remember you telling me before that it has a lot of characters that are analogous to characters in Eva. Now, I haven't seen Eva, so would you please enlighten me a little bit on this, because I am actually curious. Like, you told me one guy's the Gendo, the other guy's the other blah 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 blah. I have not seen Eva. This does not mean shit to me.
Yeah, and it was funny that Kaiser mentioned that Terra is basically not like Nerve, when the antagonist organization is kind of closer to that. But in spite of that, we have Haruka, who is kind of like the Misato, in which, like the attractive older girl that just picks up the main character and brings him to this whole situation.
Yeah.
You have, like, this one shady guy who tries to confiscate Ayato's mech. He is probably the closest we have to a sort of Gendo type figure, especially because once the Raw activates, he's like kind of excited and stuff.
See, that very much reminds me of Line Barrels of Iron now. Okay, yeah, you getting this mech was an accident. Yoink. Oh, fuck. Wait, it bonded with him now. Damn it.
Even though with Gendo, it's just like, no, we're gonna stuff you into this mech, and you're gonna like it, and I'm gonna like what comes out, and I'm gonna like some of the action we do.
Yeah.
Suck it, Shinji.
Just putting it out there, I really liked how Gundam did this, where anybody can pilot the Mobile Suit Gundam. Yeah, later we know that it's better for Newtypes, but that obviously wasn't a thing earlier on, so there it's just... Well, he has the most experience, and we're really, really short-staffed, so...
Yeah, it's more like forcing Amuro in by circumstance rather than, like, I don't know, the fucking, like, what was it? The Gundam fitting him like a fucking condom.
Personally, I felt that excuse was a little bit weak sauce.
How you mean?
And you still had Ryu and Kai. I mean, surely somebody must have been better than Amuro, who used the Gundam like one time by that point, or two. Surely any level of training must have made up for that.
I mean, Kai, Ryu... Well, I don't think Ryu was in the ship before that, but Ryu and Kai... I mean, not Ryu. Kai and that other kid didn't really pilot anything like the Gundam. Hayato. Right. Didn't really pilot anything like the Gundam before, so those guys wouldn't be good choices. I think Ryu was there before them, though.
Yeah, but they were better than a civilian, surely.
I mean, I guess, but at that point, they're literally being hunted down by the Zeon, and they couldn't really take much chances.
Yeah, you know what, it just felt like, the excuse was good enough. It was a good enough line of reasoning. I just see that now, like, okay. But back to our Gento Soma clone.
If you can't pronounce the name, just admit it.
And then, of course...
I can pronounce RahXephon, thank you very much.
Okay, good enough. But yeah, Ayato is effectively kind of like the Shinji in that situation where he's just going about things and, oh, now everything's on fire. Oh, now I am being brought into this organization by shady people I don't know.
Oh, now there's a waifu.
Yeah, but, like, granted, Ayato's sort of gravitas with his character is roughly different from Shinji, like, by a lot. I mean, you still have the angst, you still have, like, the distrust of like, his parental figure, his mother mostly, and just other stuff. But mostly, like, his perspective...
But answer me this question, Kaiser. Does he or does he not fail No Not November in the most spectacular way possible?
Not to the point we're watching, but who knows? Something might happen. But like... But yeah, the whole thing with Ayato... You are way too amused by yourself, dude. I swear to God. But, like,
Look, right now, just saying I'm so fucked up.
Yeah, but like the whole thing with Ayato's character is more so from the perspective of somebody who had like a normal life. Like aside from just like, hey, his mom being like absent for most of his life, he pretty much has a pretty normal life. He likes, drawing. He has interests. He has shit going on. And then it's just all this shit thrown in at him.
Just putting it out there, I can't feel that bad for him when his mother still took the time to cook him like a proper-ass breakfast. Just saying.
I mean, from that standpoint, it's not really designed for you to feel bad for him necessarily. At least not to the extent that, oh, you're fully on his side or whatever. It's more so just the extent of just understanding the isolation he feels, sort of.
And just a normal life he has before everything is on fire, everything is being blown up, all train crashes, all the military is being killed right in front of him.
Yeah.
All buildings, destruction, death.
Yeah, dogs and cats fucking each other.
I didn't know that Darling in the dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Also, I didn't know that that Ichigo kissing what's-his-name is a thing in this universe.
Fuck you and your references to that dog shit series, Franks. Oh, I just realized the blue blood stuff. I don't know if that's supposed to be pulling from RahXephon at all.
I think that's coincidental.
I just realized that.
Come on, like after this, literally no one talks about RahXephon anyways. So I'm very, very confident this is just a strong coincidence. But I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't.
We're talking about RahXephon.
Yes.
True, but Frank's already ripped off both Ava and Gurren Lagann, so I wouldn't be surprised if they also directly took notes from RahXephon too.
True, but
did I say RahXephon the first time I met it? Gurren Lagann, yeah.
Yes,
fine.
You did. You said that.
Okay.
But
good.
Back to RahXephon.
We're talking about RahXephon.
Yeah.
Zeph used to talk about RahXephon. The kings with no crowns talk about RahXephon.
I mean, yes, but you know what I'm saying. It's like not as wide of a scale as it probably was when it came out back then. But like, still, that's the whole thing with Ayato's character. And I like a lot of the directing that goes into showing, like, I guess portraying his thought processes and everything else with the characters. At least so far, it's pretty endearing. The only character that I don't really like at all is the pink-haired bitch for the most part. Some of her banter with Ayato is cool, but otherwise she's just the bitch, and that's about it.
Fact: 70% of the time, pink-haired anime girls are bitches.
Honestly,
100%
honestly, it's
of the
not
time.
even 70%. It's like 80.
Good job, boys.
I don't know what these people got against pink-haired chicks, man. It must be some kind of epidemic or something.
Good job, boys. You met your misogyny quota for this episode.
Whoa. This isn't misogyny. This is hairism. This is heresy with extra hair.
This is misogybot doublespeak.
But yeah, my favorite joke so far was the part where, like, my favorite gag, right, was when Megumi was coming in, and one of the pilots from, like, episode 1 is like, all of my crew just died in this fight. Don't tell me they died, and you knew about all of this, just so we can get this one stupid brat. And then she's like, so I guess this means our plans for Chinese takeout next week are canceled? Then suddenly, it just pans up, smack! Bitch slap!
Oh.
Is that a motherfucking Gundam reference?
God damn, you know.
I don't really think so. I don't think here's the thing. I don't think what's her name in Mitsuko ever like had a slap fight.
I just assumed that anytime anyone slaps anyone in a mech anime, it's a Gundam reference.
Alright, but you said it was an Ava reference.
No, I didn't. I said Gundam.
No, you said Ava.
Okay, history revisionist trash.
We can look at the recording, asshole.
Wait, you're recording our conversation in this manga cafe? That's pretty fucked up, Kaiser.
You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know that I should be filing for a restraining order.
Oh, then here's then Lone Crit, how pray tell are we able to deliver our to broadcast our antics to the good people watching?
Something space future science.
Don't you pull that bullshit pseudoscience on me, mister.
Look, we got to this manga cafe via a teleporter. Do you question anything at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not how I got here. I got here because I was kidnapped and hired.
Okay, Robo-Slave. I mean CBF.
I just kind of walked in.
Fuck. But yeah. I also just really like the soundtrack for this show. There's so much fun, jazzy, chaoticness going on here, and it's legitimately really good. Same for the OP and ED.
Yeah, it's Yoko Kanno. She's definitely going to pop off with that shit. And hopefully none of the tracks are plagiarized.
She actually only did the theme. She actually only did the OP theme composition. Ichiko Hashimoto did both the ED and the OST. Yeah, it's.
I mean,
really
I heard some. I heard that. I've seen some of the tracks. Some of the other tracks in RahXephon, and she was involved in those as well. Especially one that's like an insert song that has both Maya Sakamoto and Steve Conti in it, and it's great. The Garden of Everything, one of my favorite insert songs. Although Steve kind of overtakes it by a lot. But yeah, But anyways, though, yeah, RahXephon's pretty okay so far. Hopefully we'll have something about it some other time. But right now we're going to have to cut off and tune in next time when we indoctrinate all of you in the freaking something really good. It's not.
Don't worry, we know, Kaiser. We will believe in Geta. Don't worry.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll probably have a special guest, but that's for next time.
We will also unlock big dick energy, for real.
Yes. Anyway, stay tuned.
Grandma once said this. See you next time for Get a Robo Armageddon, Get a Robo, and Mobile Suit Gundam.